South Africa is a country of stark contrasts. Rich people, poor people, leafy suburbs, townships, wealth, poverty. It's a country of inequality, haves and have-nots. This inequality is not only related to money and education or access to opportunity. We are a country of unequal access to the internet. If you live in a leafy suburb, you can have cheap, uncapped home fiber. If you live in a township, you only get expensive, capped mobile wireless data. In other words, on top of the structural inequality of our country, if you're rich, you get fiber internet, and if you're poor, you don't. It's digital apartheid. 80% of South Africans live in townships, and yet there is no fiber internet in townships. This realization sparked the start of our crazy idea. Our idea is that there's a market for fiber internet in townships. Globally, the market doesn't exist. Go anywhere in the world, townships in Africa, slums in Asia, favelas in Brazil, and there's no fiber to the home or to the shack. The lack of fiber in townships leads most people to assume there's no demand for fiber in townships. If you believe in market theory, that makes sense. That's how the market economy works, demand and supply. If there was demand for fiber, there would be a market and therefore there would be fiber. The fact that there's no fiber in townships means there's no demand. But that's where we think differently. We don't agree that there's no demand. We think that the reason there's no township fiber is not because there's no demand, it's because the existing home fiber business model is not suited for township requirements. So, we ignored the lack of an existing market and we looked directly to the customer. What does the average person living in a township want? Does she want to stream live sports? Does she want unlimited YouTube? Does she want to video call her mom? Does she want her children to be able to learn online? To have access to the world's biggest encyclopedia of knowledge? To read about the politics of the land? To have open access to information? The answer? Hell yes. She wants what everyone in leafy suburbs already has: unlimited, affordable access to the internet, free from constraints. Fiber internet is what she wants. The lack of fiber internet in townships is not because there's no demand. It's because the existing business model prevents access. The traditional fiber industry is built upon a business model whereby the customer pays an upfront fee to install fiber and set up a Wi-Fi router in her home, and then she signs a debit order for approximately 500 Rand per month. That is a pricing model that doesn't work for your average township resident. She can't afford the upfront cost of installing fiber in her router, and she can't afford to commit to a debit order of 400 or 500 Rand every month. She has money, but she can't commit to upfront purchases or ongoing subscriptions. She has little to no discretionary income and many unpredictable expenses. It's not that she doesn't want fiber, it's just that the traditional fiber business model doesn't cater for her reality. So we thought to ourselves, could we create a way for people to access the internet through fiber? What if we remove the barriers to township fiber? What if we install the fiber and router for free, and instead of asking for a monthly debit order, we sell vouchers on a pay-as-you-go basis? If you have money on you, you can have fiber internet. If you don't have money on you, you're not trapped by a commitment you can't afford. This places the power for generating demand back into the hands of consumers who had previously been excluded. Pay-as-you-go fiber empowers the consumer. The big question was, will we be able to make a profit? No one knew. No one had done it before. And why not? Because there are lots of risks and many unknowns. We're taking the risk of connecting every home without recouping our upfront costs or asking for a commitment for a monthly subscription. We had to believe that people will buy enough pay-as-you-go vouchers to justify our investment. We had to trust that the infrastructure would not be stolen or vandalized, nor our build crews be interfered with by local mafias. When there are so many risks, it can make you scared. However, there's also an enormous opportunity filled with potential. South Africa has an estimated 17 million homes, of which at least 13 million are in townships and are home to at least 55 million people. In the last 10 years, the South African fiber industry has grown to almost 70 billion Rand in value, and that has only connected just over 3 million homes, which means 80% of the homes in the country are still available, and that is an enormous market opportunity. There's an enormous, massive, untapped market and group of people who are already paying for mobile internet and would love nothing more than a fiber connection to their home. Let's just pause for a moment and imagine providing fiber to that market, to the township market. Not only could you make a lot of money providing the service, but you'd make an outsized positive social impact for the country. Education for all those kids sitting at home wishing their teachers could teach. Jobs for all those unemployed youngsters that are milling around, hungry for a way to make money. entertainment for every single person sitting at home bored, an alternative to gangster life, drugs, alcohol, rather access to opportunities and freedom to explore. The internet has it all. For a country like South Africa, with the stark contrasts and a growing digital divide, social impact is an imperative. Living in a country like South Africa means living with the knowledge that the government won't save us nor provide services to allow equitable access to opportunities. Scary risks aside, in the end it was a no-brainer. We decided to give it a go. Prepaid fiber for townships, here we come. But first, how much should we charge for pay-as-you-go fiber internet? Now, most companies tackle product pricing in a very careful mathematical way. We decided, screw that. We are going to focus on servicing the customer, and that starts with just what does the customer want to pay? The smallest meaningful currency in South Africa is a 5 Rand coin. Everyone has a 5 Rand coin in their pocket. So that's what we picked as the Rand value for 24 hours of fiber internet, 5 Rand. The next question we asked ourselves was, how fast should our fiber be? It's easy to settle on good enough when serving poor communities. It's better than what they have. They'll be grateful. This is a mindset adopted by many companies providing services to consumers in townships, but we decided, screw that. Our approach is to be the best, always. And in the internet game, best means fastest. Instead of offering a product that is slower than leafy suburbs, we decided to provide fiber that's faster than anywhere else. We settled on 100 megs per second to start with. That settled it. 5 Rand for 24 hours of 100 megs per second with a free router and no contract. Then we took a step back and compared our idea to the industry standard. It turns out we were 90% cheaper than the industry. 90%. Now, I must say that sounds a little bit nerve-wracking. You might read nicely on paper, but how do we make a profit? Surely an offering that is so much cheaper than the market norm cannot be profitable. As much as we'd like to bring fiber to townships, we can't embark on a journey without profit. Profit is the engine of sustainability. Without profit, township fiber will fail. Relying on charity and government grants and subsidies is a dead end. There is only one path to long-term sustainability. Township fiber must be profitable. So the question is township fiber profitable? The answer? Township fiber can be profitable, but it requires scale. In other words, a small fiber operator can't make a profit selling 5 Rand fiber. You can only be profitable if you're a big fiber operator. If we only connect 10,000 homes, then we'll never make money and be able to provide what customers want. But if we connect 100,000 homes, we'll make a decent profit. And if we connect 1 million homes, we'll make a massive profit. It's just a question of economies of scale. The more you sell, the lower your cost of sales, the more customers of which to spread your fixed overheads, the higher your profit. Scale equals profitable township fiber. The more homes connected, the cheaper the fiber internet for everyone. Right, we had our price, our speed, and we knew we needed scale to make this work. The next question was, where are we going to find 1 million homes? As I said before, there are 13 million homes in townships across South Africa. That is 13 million potential opportunities to make a profit by bringing people affordable and accessible uncapped fiber. This model removes barriers, connects families to the internet, unlocks education, and affords access to people who have previously been excluded from the economic benefits of the World Wide Web. The opportunity for scale is there. We just needed to break the seal. And so we started in April 2022. We raised 52 million Rand to build a fiber network and prove our ideas viable in Kayamandi, a township outside of Stellenbosch. Kayamandi is Xhosa for beautiful home. In August of 2022, we started building, and 4 months later, in November of last year, 2022, the fiber network went live. It was a remarkable feeling when our team saw the network go live, and there were important lessons we learned as we built out physical infrastructure. We immediately encountered 2 big problems. The first problem was with shacks. To minimize our capital costs and thereby keep our retail prices low, we decided to connect shacks via wireless access points beaming from poles outside the shacks. One pole can beam signal into 10 shacks, saving us the cost and hassle of dropping a fiber and router into each shack. Well, turns out shacks are Faraday cages. The corrugated iron creates an electromagnetic shield that deflects wireless signal, which means that although we have super fast Wi-Fi around the shack, you can't actually use the Wi-Fi inside the shack. Wi-Fi outside a shack is nice to have, but Wi-Fi inside a shack is a non-negotiable. No one wants to sit on the pavement watching Netflix at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in 42-degree heat of summer, nor in the pouring rain of winter. Nor do people want to sit outside at night when bad people are walking the streets. You need internet in the home. But the Faraday effect neutralized our attempts to get it into the home wirelessly. The other big problem was electricity. As all South Africans are painfully aware, our national electricity provider Eskom started stage 6 load shedding in December 2022. And that's when we realized we're not in the traditional fiber business. We're in the restaurant business. No electricity, no revenue. Traditional fiber companies don't stress too much about electricity in the consumer's home. Your typical leafy suburb fiber company simply charges you a monthly subscription on debit order. You pay it regardless of whether you have electricity for your router for the whole month or not. If you want your home fiber to work during load shedding, then you, at your own cost, need to install a UPS to keep your router powered. This isn't the case for our pay-as-you-go Township fiber. We install a router into every home and the customer buys vouchers. If the router doesn't have electricity, then it doesn't work and the customer doesn't buy vouchers. In other words, 50% electricity downtime means a 50% revenue hit. Load shedding is not our fault, but it is very much our problem. In retrospect, we were lucky that the electricity issue raised its ugly head because we were going down a rabbit hole with our shack strategy anyway. Beaming wireless into shacks was never going to be a long-term winning strategy. The Faraday effect means it doesn't work, and the electricity problem means our jury-rigged solutions like booster antennas are unfeasible because they can't be powered independently off-grid. The short-term solution for electricity is UPSs. The UPS can keep the router alive during load shedding, which means we can keep selling vouchers. But those UPSs still need to be recharged, and the long-term reliance on Eskom is not a winning strategy. There is only one long-term solution for electricity. We must power the home routers ourselves through fiber service that we provide. We might be in the fiber business, but we need to solve for electricity if we are to have a business. We're now in April 2023. Our network has been live for 6 months. And we now know whether Township residents want home fiber. The answer is yes, and people love it. By March 2023, the Kayamandi network had consumed more than 350 terabytes or 350 gigabytes per home. That's the equivalent of 1,346 hours or 56 days of non-stop YouTube. The equivalent amount of data on a mobile network, assuming you're paying the lowest rate of 12 Rand for 100 megabits, would have cost 42 million Rand. The data used by our Township fiber only cost the consumers 750,000 Rand. That is a 98% cost saving. That's the difference between fiber and mobile internet. At the official launch of the network, 2 months after going live, one of the Kayamandi residents, an old gogo, stood on stage and said, "Thank you for bringing us fiber. For the first time in my life, my children stay inside. They don't run around the streets getting in trouble. They don't even look at me when I talk because they're so busy on their screens. Thank you." The people of Kayamandi love fiber. We also have an idea of whether it's profitable to build fiber into townships. The answer? Yes! Even though it's still early days, we're selling an average of 6 Rand 50's worth of vouchers for every home, every day, excluding outside campaigns, which equates to 2,350 Rand of revenue per home per annum. The total once-off cost of connecting a home is about 4,964 Rand, and the annual running cost is 300 Rand per home. That means that even if we see no sales growth from here on, we break even after year 2 for all upfront costs, and we have a 20-year asset with an 85% operating profit margin. So far, it looks like Township fiber is profitable, which is quite a relief. We've invested a lot of money and time and reputation, none of which we want to lose. The real reason for our relief is that Township fiber is one of the few levers that are capable of getting South Africa back onto a successful and prosperous path. Education, jobs, economic growth, Township pay-as-you-go fiber unlocks it all. Everyone in South Africa needs to have access to affordable fast internet, otherwise we won't have a South Africa. Now, many people have said that what we're doing is impossible. First, they said it was impossible to build fiber in townships in the face of construction mafias, theft and vandalism. We did it. The first 1,000 homes we connected have had no problems with construction mafias, nor any vandalism, nor any theft. Now, how did we get that right? We didn't just send in trucks and dig holes. We engaged with churches, schools and sports clubs. We created dialogues and we explained what we're planning. We took feedback on how best to recruit locals, and we made time to do skills transfers. Local communities are not strangers. They are our partners and our stakeholders. Then they said it was impossible to provide a free router. We did it. Turns out all you have to do is knock on the door and ask, "Would you like a free router?" And then we wouldn't install a cheap Chinese router. We'd install a first-class Nokia router. By investing in the best for the Township fiber, we showed respect. Then they said it was impossible to charge R5 per day. And we did it. Using the Solana blockchain, we developed a Velocoin wallet that makes it possible to buy small chunks of fibertime with zero friction costs. Then they said it was impossible to provide speeds of 100 megs per second. And we did it. Unlike wireless, fiber is not constrained by the capacity of the airwaves and therefore has no congestion issues. So we can connect thousands of people in densely populated communities without affecting speeds. Townships are the perfect communities for fiber internet. And lastly, the data said it would be impossible to make a profit. So far, the unit metrics are profitable. Township fiber is profitable if we can generate more than R5 per home connected. The minimum number of homes we need to connect is 50,000. In other words, once we've connected 50,000 homes, we're break even. Now, all we have to do is connect 50,000 homes. Someone hold my beer. One of the big questions we get is, what is the secret? The secret is not so secret. If you want to make money in townships, you must sell your product in bite-sized chunks, fractions of the whole, you might say. The smaller the bite, the more you sell. It's like cigarettes. You'll sell many more cigarettes if you sell them one by one rather than in a box. Prior to November 2022, the smallest chunk of uncapped fiber you could buy in South Africa was R100. We sell uncapped fiber in chunks of R5 or 28 US cents. That's pretty small, but that's why we're making money. If there's a secret sauce, it's Velocoin. It's the ability for an ISP to be able to charge people in small bite-sized chunks and let people pay as they go. Kayamandi residents are free to choose what works for them and when they want it. And that's what they're doing. There are 13 million homes and townships across South Africa. Every single one of them has a family with needs, dreams, and desires. Children are eager and hungry to get ahead, to make money, to learn, to empower themselves. Elderly family members want to communicate with relatives in distant places over video. Teenagers want to play their favorite video games and stream their favorite shows. The whole family wants to watch their favorite sporting stars. People want to explore opportunities and find work online. We have waited a long time for our government to provide quality education, create jobs, but we can't wait any longer. Building more schools isn't going to give kids in Lusiki an education. Hiring more teachers isn't going to get educators into Bushbuckridge. Only the internet can do it, and fiber is the only way to give everyone access to super fast, super cheap internet. Township Fiber, pay-as-you-go Township Fiber, provides an actionable path towards a better future. Cheap uncapped home fiber is literally the only possible path for millions of children and adults living in townships across our country to get access to many things that privileged homes, rich people living in leafy suburbs, take for granted. Google, Khan Academy, YouTube, call center jobs, and hundreds of other privileges that are currently only easily accessible to people living in leafy suburbs. What happens if we miraculously get this right for South Africa? What happens if we manage to get every single home connected to affordable pay-as-you-go fiber? Well, this is just the start. Our job won't be finished until every home in Africa is online. Townships in South Africa are like townships in Nigeria. People want Netflix and YouTube and education and jobs and the ability to video call their family all over the world. People want fiber. Our not-so-secret method of township fiber, of pay-as-you-go fiber, applies to densely sprawling communities in Lagos as well as Kayamandi. For the next 80 years, the bulk of the world's population growth is predicted to take place in Africa. Between now and 2050, the world's population is expected to grow by an additional 1.8 billion people. 1.2 billion people will be in Africa, 600 million people will be in Asia, mostly in India. 0 will come from the rest of the world. By 2050, Africa's share of world population will grow from 17 to 26%. By 2050, the population of Nigeria will surpass the USA. Today, there are no African cities in the top 10 populated cities in the world. And by 2050, 2 African cities will be in the top 10, Kinshasa and Lagos. By 2100, the top 3 most populated cities in the world will all be African, Lagos, Kinshasa, Dar es Salaam, and 2 other African cities will be in the top 10, Khartoum and Niamey. That means that Africa will have 50%, half, of the top 10 most populous cities in the world. African cities are not like European or Asian cities. In Africa, urbanization happens horizontally, not vertically. Slums sprawl out over hundreds of kilometers. Traditional fiber solutions for high-rise buildings are not applicable in Africa. The only fiber solution that is proven to work in African townships will be the fiber solution we're developing in Kayamandi, pay-as-you-go fiber, which is why we're in such a rush. It's not just the opportunity to build a successful business. It's about helping Africa win and getting it to the best it can be. Time is not a luxury that we have. South Africa is not the only country where the government is failing its citizens, Many countries in Africa are experiencing similar challenges. Our continent has so much potential, has so many great people and phenomenal minds, but it all means nothing if we don't unlock our own potential. No one is going to do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves, and quickly. Every day that goes by without fibre in every home is a day where kids are not learning, information access is exclusionary, people are stuck and not given a chance to break out and make a living. Every day without access to pay-as-you-go fibre means another day for most South Africans to not be on the internet, as another opportunity lost for South Africa. Each day that we wait, the greater the divide grows, and soon it might be too wide to bridge. There is no time to lose. It's fibre time.